So I saw Morbius yesterday, and yeah, it's not very good. So Morbius is like film Twitter's new like meme of a movie, and I guess that makes sense considering it is a Marvel property, but it's technically like a Sony movie. It has everyone's favorite Jared Leto. We have heard nothing but bad things leading up to the release of the movie, and the trailers have been hit or miss to say the least. Those are all ingredients for a good time at the expense of film Twitter. There are so many movies like that, and this is just the latest, and I guess it doesn't help that Jared Leto is in this one. Now, once again, let me just say, I don't hate Jared Leto. I don't think he's a bad actor. Been a rough couple back-to-back movies for him. This is the second movie in a row where he says the word chic after, the Academy Award nominated House of Gucci. And honestly, I feel like I didn't even watch Morbius because this has just been erased from my mind completely. This is like everything I don't want in a blockbuster, okay? The editing in the first half of this movie is so atrocious. It completely disrupts like the flow of the story. It opens with the scene, right? And then it goes to a flashback, okay, as they were kids, and then it goes to like the present day, right? But they never go back to that opening scene. Like it's an opening scene and then it's gone. Like that's it. Now you kind of make logical conclusions as to why that opening scene was even there in the first place. But because the editing is so fucking shit, I was like, oh, so they just never revisited back that opening scene. Like, did we even need that opening scene? No, we did not. So that's one. Two, the action, which at the very least, even with some of the bad blockbusters, you're like, okay, at least like entertain me. Let's be cool. I mean, this shit just not even that fucking cool. Like there are some, I guess, cool visual moments where it's kind of like going in slow motion, which may or may not kind of test your patience on these things. I didn't mind it for some of them, but the stuff where they're just like straight up fighting, it's so fucking ugly. This movie is ugly. This whole movie was so predictable. Like I knew exactly what every character was going to do. I had the plot line figured out from like minute 10. And that's not because I know exactly what Morbius is. All I knew about Morbius is like kind of his powers and that he's a Spider-Man villain. That's really all I knew about Morbius. I don't know any of his fucking backstory. I don't know it like that. But that's how fucking obvious it was. The CG, sometimes it looks actually great. Like it actually does at times. And then other times I'm watching like a PlayStation 2 video game. So it's just, this movie's like fucking all over the place. I don't even feel the need to talk about it that much because it's fucking Morbius. I genuinely don't know one person who's excited about this movie. And here's how I knew it was gonna be like pretty bad. When people start talking about the post-credit scene being bad, that's when you know you have a bad movie. Because post-credit scene, like, do I remember like a bad post-credit scene? Like not really. Like they're just there to kind of tease the next thing. And that might be annoying for some, but I've kind of just come to expect it and accept it. You remember the good post-credit scenes, and some of the bad ones you just kind of forget. You don't even think about it. Like people don't mention like bad post-credit scenes that much in movies. But this one was. And I watched it and it's almost like offensive how bad it was. And no spoilers obviously, but it's been a while since I've seen a movie really just be like, we're just gonna just have this happen. We're just gonna try to capitalize off a previous movie, and we're just gonna shove something in here, and it's gonna be fucking awesome, huh? Who's with me? When that post-credit scene ended, the second one, I actually like chuckled in my seat. Like an audible chuckle came out of my mouth. This movie does have two post-credit scenes. And normally when you hear there's two post-credit scenes, there's like one after the initial like main kind of credits where it has like the director and the cast. And then it'll go to the post-credit scene. And then you'll have the whole huge credits, right? With all the unit production managers, all the sound people, the songs, And then there'll be the post-credit scene after that, right? This one, no. Movie ends, main credits, what I just talked about. Post-credit scene, finish some of the main credits, post-credit scene, and then the rest of the credits. Because I don't think they thought that you would want to wait till the actual full end of the credits to see it because it's that bad. And that post-credit scene, honestly, is like kind of embarrassing. Let me bring this back around from my guy, Jared Leto, who didn't even know COVID was happening until 2 weeks in. Let me bring this back to him. This was an hour and a half. Okay, without the post-credit scenes, two of them, this movie was an hour and a half. I checked my phone. After the end of the second post-credit scene, I looked at my watch, an hour 37 minutes. Okay, now the official runtime will be longer because then you have the rest of the credits to go. But after the end of the second credits, it was an hour and 37 minutes. This is one of the shortest Marvel movies I can remember in a long time. And for that, I give a thumbs up. Thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate that. This is not sarcasm. I appreciate that this movie isn't an unnecessary fucking 2 hours long. And on one hand, it almost would have benefited from being a little bit longer because you can tell some things were definitely cut and rewrote, and I feel like some action scenes were taken out just to fucking speed this up. I get that. At the same time, thank you. Okay? Thank you. This movie is an hour and a half long, basically, and it is fucking quick. I genuinely was like, oh, is that done? Like, are we done right now? Like, the light's going up? Like, I could not believe how fast it went by. So, thank you. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And I know just from this review, if you're still fucking watching and you're not following me on Letterboxd, you're probably like, oh my gosh, this guy is going to give this movie like half a star or 1 star. No, I'm not. This is actually going to be higher than you probably think. Because, like I said, I appreciate that so much, that the movie was so fucking quick and it moves. And honestly, this movie is a watchable bad, okay? It actually is. This is a very watchable bad movie. This is not one of those things where I'm like sitting here checking my watch because I'm so bored, like frustrated out of my mind. Because this movie is like actually like really bad that it became watchable bad. You know, it's very watchably bad. Don't know if that's a word. And that for sure bumps my rating up because at least it is fucking watchable. So for that, Morbius, 5 stars. Just kidding. 2 stars. What the fuck? It's so funny. You could tell like Sony was like really feeling themselves like after like No Way Home, even though that is like a fucking partnership with the MCU, and I still feel like that's Kevin Feige's brain. And then they go to do Morbius and it is an absolute shit show. My God. Kind of embarrassing. Oh well. I mean, this movie does have a flying Jared Leto, which I don't know if any other movie does, so I guess they have that going for themselves.